Earlier this summer, the city of Detroit got another feather in their proverbial cap as the Metro Detroit region continues their reemergence, recovery, and reaffirms their place as one of North America's most proudest and vibrant cities. When Time magazine recognized Detroit as one of the world's greatest places in 2022, the resilience of the people, the heritage, design, and innovation, coupled with the city's diversity, are just some of the reasons why Time magazine says Detroit is one of the 50 greatest places to be in 2022. For those in charge of highlighting Detroit's greatest assets and making the case as to why people should invest in the energy, the story, and the resilience of the city, this news couldn't come at a better time. Christopher Moyer is the Senior Director of Communications for Visit Detroit, and he joined me this week to have a conversation about the jewel that is the city of Detroit and how this news from Time magazine will assist in securing Detroit's place within the national landscape. I'm Kevin McShane. Let's have this conversation. Fantastic. Well, Chris, if you're ready, I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program, my friend. It's good to see you again, and I'm very excited this morning and delighted to be with you to talk about Time magazine, giving Detroit such an honor. Great to see you this morning, and thank you so much for being here.
Kevin, it is great to be back on the program with you. Wonderful seeing you. It was great seeing you in person about a month ago, and it's just great to be talking to you about all things Detroit.
Yeah, absolutely. And, earlier this summer, Time magazine bestowed the honor of giving Detroit the title of one of the 50 greatest places to be in 2022. So tell me what the honor means for the region from your perspective.
Well, everybody in Detroit, everybody in Southeast Michigan is really excited to have Time recognize Detroit as one of the world's greatest places. And it is a true honor, but it's reflective of the energy that's in the city. It's reflective of the positive momentum that the city has experienced for really more than a decade. There are certainly challenges that the city, like all places, experience, but right now what's happening in Detroit is a full immersive experience of people working together to build a great community. That's a really exciting, and it's really just an exciting place to be right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the honor comes just over a decade since the city declared bankruptcy and emerged from that. So tell me about the true renaissance of the city since that point and how this honor will help continue the momentum.
Absolutely. Well, you are spot on that Detroit went through the largest municipal bankruptcy in the history of the United States. And that was a real stain on the city's reputation coming off of several decades of challenges in the city. However, the truth is that the renaissance that we are experiencing right now was already starting even as the city went into bankruptcy, because the true story of Detroit's history has always been one of grit and resilience and coming back. As far back as the early 1800s, Detroit had a near total fire, destroying most of the city. We rose from the ashes in the 1800s. There's been ups and downs in the past few hundred years. Certainly, Detroit and many cities throughout the United States had a terrible history when it came to systemic disinvestment and quite frankly racism that disinvested from the city center. But for more than 20 years, people have been reinvesting in the city, in neighborhoods, in the downtown core, and that has brought about that renaissance that we talk about. And so when the city entered into bankruptcy, business owners, small businesses, civic organizations had already laid the foundations for us to come out of that bankruptcy in a very strong position. Now we've got a really well-functioning city government. We've got a robust business community, and there are so many wonderful places to come and visit while you're in Detroit and Southeast Michigan that this is an exciting time to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chris, Detroit was one of only 5 cities who made this list. So tell me, what do you think this honor does to change the national perception of the city?
Well, I think it does a lot. There's still more work to do, but the fact of the matter is that the perception of Detroit for too long has not matched the reality of what a great place Detroit and Southeast Michigan truly is. And so if the perception is, I don't know, is Detroit safe? Are there things to do for me in Detroit? That isn't the reality of what more than a decade of robust economic growth, robust civic engagement has resulted in. This is a beautiful city. It has stunning architecture, so much cultural relevance for the United States and the globe. Things like Motown, putting the world on wheels with the automotive industry. Now that full mobility industry, and the time recognizing Detroit as one of only 5 U.S. cities on this list really is reflective of the resilience. I've said that word before. I'm probably going to say it quite a bit more of what Detroit has gone through. And so there is no better time to be in the city than right now.
Yeah, and Chris, reading what Time said about Detroit, they cited Detroit's resiliency in its people, the increased innovation and diversity as well. So tell me what you thought specifically of what the magazine had to say about the region.
Well, I think Time really hit the nail on the head. Our strength is our people. Our strength is our resilience. Our strength is our diversity. Detroit is the largest Black majority city in the United States. That is something to be exceptionally proud of. But our diversity is not just Black and white. We have the largest percentage of immigrants from the Middle East, anywhere outside of the Middle East, living in Detroit and the Metro Detroit area. The automotive industry drew people from all over the United States and all over the world to work here. And so we have Detroit is truly the epitome of the melting pot city of the United States. And so that type of cultural interaction has produced great music, great food, and really wonderful, friendly people excited to welcome new folks from outside of our community.
Yeah, absolutely. Detroit's a hidden melting pot, isn't it?
I think Detroit is the microcosm of the United States. Detroit represents the best of what the American dream is in terms of taking people from all over the world, making them Detroiters, but still reflecting the culture where they came from. That's very special.
Yeah, and your boss, the president of Visit Detroit, Claude Mallory, when the news came out, he had mentioned that Detroit obviously is a great city for music, innovation, and restaurants. So I'm wondering your thoughts on what Claude had to say about the region as well.
Well, it's probably not going to surprise you. I agree with Claude 100%. He is a great leader of Visit Detroit and a great ambassador for the city and for this region. And there is no question that people come here initially because, oh, I'd like to go see the Motown Museum. I would like to go to the Henry Ford Museum or Greenfield Village or take a tour of the Rouge River Ford factory where you can actually watch an F-150 being made. But when somebody gets here, what they end up finding is, wow, this restaurant that I had no idea about is truly world class. Our riverfront has spectacular views. It's been 2 years in a row voted the best riverfront in the United States by the readers of the USA Today. So there's people come to Detroit and Southeast Michigan for a variety of reasons, and then they end up falling in love with other elements of the city and the people that live here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chris, about a month ago when I saw you in person, my friend, we talked about how excited you were that winter rides on this side of the border can now re-enter and come back and infuse themselves back into the city. So tell me, how much of an advantage do you think it is that winter rides can now come back over the border, and how excited you are that we've made this amount of progress?
Well, I'll tell you this. It is such a joy to be able to have our Canadian brothers and sisters come back over the river and visit us in Southeast Michigan. I am looking at you right now, but just in the distance beyond my camera is the Detroit River and Windsor, Ontario. For a couple of years because of COVID, not being able to easily go back and forth across the city was a real challenge and a real hardship for many people. Southwest Ontario has millions of people living in it. We feel a very strong cultural affinity to our friends across the border in Canada, and we want to welcome them to Canada just as we want to go into Canada. So it's great to have the border open. It's great to have people coming, moving back and forth freely across the Ambassador Bridge or under the river in the Windsor Tunnel. And all I can say is we hope to have more Canadians come.
Well, Chris, I have to tell you, I'm looking forward to reconnecting again at the end of October as we cheer on the Lions together. I'm looking forward to it, for sure.
Well, Kevin, it's always great seeing you in person. I think that your passion for sports, your knowledge about sports, and your support of the Lions is going to be one of those critical things that hopefully turns the Lions franchise around. There's a lot of excitement about the Lions, but there's some trepidation because, well, you know the history of the Lions. It's not been great, but this could be a year that we are at least heading in the right direction, if not onto a Super Bowl at the end of the season.
Well, we can get rid of the trepidation by winning some football games, right?
Yeah, we'll start maybe this weekend against the Washington Commanders. I think it's the first time in 26 games that the Lions are favored to win a game going into it.
Well, fingers crossed, right? So, Chris, when you look at sort of encapsulating the spirit of the people of Detroit, how would you sort of describe the spirit of the people in Detroit? Because they're a unique bunch, aren't they?
Yeah, I would say you're absolutely right. I would also add that what truly defines a Detroiter is three things. One, it's a tremendous amount of grit. Detroiters have had tough experiences, but that has never kept us from our desire to make a better community around us and a better world around us. That's what Detroiters do. We have made the world a better place through our music, through the automotive industry, through our creative expression. So grit's number one. That also leads right into number two, which is that Detroiters are creators and innovators. It is those two and three, creators and innovators, that really define the exceptional spirit of our community. Innovators all for more than a century when it comes to the automotive industry. The first stoplight was invented in Detroit. Obviously, predating that, the automobile really came to the fore with dozens of different manufacturers setting up shop here in Detroit after Henry Ford really got the momentum started. Now, that spirit of innovation is leading to a new road being built that will allow electric vehicles to charge while they're driving on it. We're also creating a road from Detroit to Ann Arbor, about a 45-minute drive, where autonomous vehicles can actually drive out in a non-closed circuit road. So they can drive on this road. Some autonomous vehicles are able to go in a loop in a closed road. This will be one of the first roads in the world where they can do this safely out with other vehicles around. So that spirit of innovation is right there. And of course, the creative spirit with our beautiful art all throughout the city on murals, all over city streets and walls, beautiful art inside of our fantastic museums like the Detroit Institute of Art, like the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, like the Museum of Contemporary Art Detroit. These are fantastic examples of our creative spirit. So it's grit, it's innovation, it's creativity.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. And as you know, after I left you, after our in-person meeting, I scurried over to the DIA. It's a really magical place, isn't it?
Oh, it really is. It's the perfect encapsulation of where you can get great food, listen to great music, and see beautiful art all right there in Eastern Market, and have a really wonderful day. You can do everything there in about 1 square mile. For Canadians, like about just over a kilometer.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, I know that you came over to visit Detroit from the Detroit Chamber of Commerce, so I'm curious to get you to put your business hat back on and really tell me how business opportunities and expansion have really changed or expanded recently, because you go downtown Detroit and you see all of the new development and business opportunities that abound. So tell me about the business opportunities that are available in the region as well.
Well, not only did we get the wonderful accolade from Time that Detroit is one of the world's greatest destinations, but recently Startup Genome, a research organization focused on the startup ecosystem around the world, they named Detroit the #1 emerging market for startups in the world, not just in the United States, not just in North America, but the entire world, beating out places like Hong Kong because of a variety of factors. Factors like availability of capital, quality of the workforce, education, and that spirit of innovation. Detroit has always been there. So Detroit's the #1 emerging place to start a business. That should tell you a lot in terms of just what a great place, a welcoming environment it is for companies and for workers to be a part of. Detroit was always defined by the automotive industry. And we've used that strength as we've moved into the mobility industry. But in addition, there is so much related to financial tech, technology, artificial intelligence, data. The future is being built right here in Detroit, and the business community is a very strong one that helps support new entrepreneurs, new ideas, and the next great levels of innovation.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chris, my final question for you this morning is, how do you think the region and the Metro Detroit community can really capitalize on the momentum of the time on?
Well, the way to capitalize on being named one of the world's greatest destinations is to continue the investment, not just in the downtown core, the beautiful downtown Detroit, our riverfront, but also make sure that all Detroiters and all people in Southeast Michigan are benefiting from investment. Detroit is a big city. You can fit Boston, Manhattan, and San Francisco inside the city limits of Detroit. And that's reflective of years of expansion. Now we don't have quite as many people living in the city, so there's lots of area, lots of urban farming, parkland that's developing, but making sure that when somebody comes to Detroit to visit, that they also get to experience the beautiful neighborhoods, the beautiful people that live all throughout our great city. And that's what I would say we really need to do. That this is that when something good happens, we need to share it with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chris, tell me if people want to get connected with Visit Detroit and all the great work that you do to promote the region. Tell me what's the best way they can do that.
Well, certainly follow us on social media. Our Instagram is a fantastic way for people to follow all of the great events. Our Instagram, our Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, that's at Visit Detroit. But if you want to know everything, the one-stop shop of what's happening in Southeast Michigan, from events to attractions to hotels to restaurants, go to visitdetroit.com.
Fabulous. Well, Chris, as you know, we share a mutual interest for the viability and the comeback story that is Detroit. I look forward to seeing you at the end of October in person once again, and I want to thank you for bringing your passion, energy, and efforts to promote such a great region of the country, my friend. Always great to see you, and I want to thank you for being here this morning. It's most appreciated.
Kevin, it's always a pleasure to talk with you. I look forward to seeing you in just over a month.